see things. You just can't go to Egypt and think you're going to get anything. That's not going to happen. So I'm going to show you both pictures. This is both pictures. This is both pictures right here. You have your northern Hamites and you have your southern Hamites, your Montezarians and your Cushites. These are different people. Are they not, sister? I mean, isn't it clear? Look at the way they dress. Look at their hairstyles. Look how the Cushites dress. Look how the Egyptians dress. They are different people from shades, from the genetic structure, from their hairstyle, from their culture, from their language, from everything. But go to the average Afrocentric brother, all black people are the same. It was the Egyptians that constantly enslaved the Cushites. This is historical facts before Egypt, before the Israelites were even in slavery. We're going to prove that as well. I'm going to put that down. Okay. So, now we're going to get into some archaeological facts proving that Israel was present in Kemet. Now getting back to this Napoleon guy, when he outlined the pharaoh to be Ramses, which in ancient Hebrew is pronounced Ra-Amash, we became caught up in the erroneous impression that it was Ramses the second of 1224 to 1290 BCE. Now understanding that this word Ramses in Exodus chapter 1 verse 11 was being used as an acronym. What do I mean? Simple. I'm in New York City right now. And let's say if Priest Benjamin wants to write about New York and who discovered New York, and he writes in his book that the Dutch discovered New York, he wouldn't be inaccurate. The Dutch did discover New York, but in ancient times, or I won't say ancient times, when the Dutch came over here less than 400 years ago, they called this land New Amsterdam. So if he writes and say that the Dutch discovered New York, we know when the Dutch came, they called it New Amsterdam. That's the same with our ancestors when we built the cities of Pithon and Ramses. When we actually built it at that time, it wasn't called Ramses. It was called Avaris. When you actually go into the archives and find out that Ramses was during the times of who? King Saul. We're going to find out all of this, that he came later on. So it's an acronym. But let's start here. I say evidence of Israelites in Egypt in the Middle East. Now, they say there's no archaeological evidence. Now, this is the seal. If Priest Benjamin can manifest a close-up of the name of Israel being mentioned during the time of Pharaoh Menaphet. He's the one that actually came in and tried to conquer Israel 1212 BCE. This right here is one of the major documents written in stone with the name of Israel outlined. Now, we are under the impression that we was in slavery amongst Ramses. Now, it would have been next to impossible to actually go, be in captivity under Ramses. Then when Moshe or Masha comes back, then go into the wilderness for 40 years. Then after the wilderness of 40 years, then go into the land of Canaan and fight the Canaanites in order, and then settle, and then have enough time to be in battle with this Pharaoh here in 1212 BCE. That doesn't match. This right here is showing us that Israel was already an established nation in the land of Israel when this Pharaoh went to go and conquer it. See, this is why it says here The famous Israel tablet of Pharaoh Manasseh, found in Thebes, mentions the destruction, the dispersal of the Israelites from, they say, from Egypt. He tells the story in this tablet. This is the Pharaoh himself, that we was once in Egypt, and now he's going into our land to conquer us. This is showing you that the image in yellow highlight, the image of the name Yasha'Allah in the hieroglyphics. Now, for you Egyptologists that claim that there's no writings of the Egyptians writing about us, here it is right here in the hieroglyph. You see it? You see it, Isha? You see it, priest? It's right there. Yeah. Not only that, for those that may say, well, that's just one source. Well, what I did was, below, the Israel set up Mandy of the black basalt is inscribed with a triumphal hymn of the victory of Pharaoh Manasseh over Canaan, 13th century BC. It names places in Canaan, and it specifically mentions the word Israel, showing that a people called themselves by this name had settled in Israel at this time. Now, if Israel is a myth, if Israel is a fantasy that was just created, then why would Egyptians write about coming into our land to conquer us? If these people were just made up, and all these people were just allegories of astronomy, and that's just it. They're coming out their own mouth saying, look, we're warned against these people. Let's continue on. Here's another, the same seal, so y'all can see it. It's the same seal, but it's coming from another source. This one is coming from the Zondervan's picture, what you call it? Zondervan. Yeah, Zondervan's Pictorial Bible Dictionary, page 268. This one here is coming from the Collins Access of the Bible, edited by James Pitchard. And that's 2003, page 50. I outline once again the name of Israel. Both books show the same thing. Now that's really shake them up. If you come down, can you come down? You see it? Yeah. Right here, you find that in the Zenovan's Pictorial Bible Dictionary. Does it give you the page? It doesn't say. Of course, 1967 when it came out, it says a list of slaves, including Hebrews from Egypt, about the time of Joseph. So they're talking about 1800, 1700 BCE. You can find this in the Brooklyn University. This right here is a letter in Egyptian cursive writing of that time, talking about the different slaves that they had, and they actually had Hebrew slaves. We have the documentation that they mentioned Asher, they mentioned Simeon, they mentioned Issachar, they mentioned Judah. They mentioned these names in this writing. Also, we even went to a different source. We went back to the Collins Access of the Bible on page 306, 36, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now we at the Amarna Tel El-Lex. This right here clearly speaks about Joshua and the wars that we have with the Canaanites. Now you saying that all this stuff is made up. This is what you're saying.
When you get ready to get the home, it's okay.
When you actually look at this, it correlates with all the stories in the Old Testament. We're not just saying Joshua existed. We're going outside the Bible and showing archaeology to prove that they existed. Let's go on. Of course, this is a picture of Ramses II. And they're saying probably from Karnak. So Egyptologists, They don't even